What's up, bass heads? I just had a great private lesson with a new bass head, and we were talking about some stuff, and I got another call to get on, and before I go do that and do some other parts of my life, I wanted to share some thoughts that I have about learning music online, bass in particular, because this is a bass channel. I don't care what the program is. I don't care what the course is. If it's me, if it's somebody else, I don't care because we all inherently have the same problem. And that is that we're not one to one, we're not together. Right. Um, and it's hard to get a feedback loop going. Um, even with new software, that's out where that there's no latency and stuff like that, um, it's tricky, right? And even if you're in a communities, online communities are fantastic. They're great. They are great. Um, a da- I don't want to say a danger, but a thing that can happen with that is you have a question, and then you get a lot of different responses and stuff, and then you spend a lot of time trying to filter through that and less time playing. Now, when I told this gentleman online, is I got from NOLA, shoot me an email at ted at tedtalkspace.com. Um, Lost my train of thought. Oh, that's what I was saying. Every single thing that I know how to do on bass took conscious thought, right? It took time and observation and things that you just kind of got to do on your own. That makes sense. I do not like arbitrary exercises for the sake of doing exercises. That's me. That's just my philosophy. I feel like every exercise should be pointing to something musical. It can be done. It can absolutely be done. I'm reflecting on my own learning journey, how I began to when I think back about like just thumping, blisters on my thumb and calluses on my fingers and embracing the suck. You know what I mean? And like, oh, this sounds like crap. And then I hear somebody that's, better or whatever. And I'm like, you know, I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a link below. And this is adapted from Robert Greene's book called Mastery. There are 6 phases. Excuse me. There's 6 phases. I got to grab the link for you. I didn't go into this live stream with a link in mind. But I'm gonna give you a link. And just check it out. You don't even have to give me your email for it, okay? You don't even have to give me your email for it. But I want you to check out the link that I just dropped in the comments. Again, what I'm saying, is what I say on this channel. It's not the way, it's a way, right? But I'm not, even if I take your hands and I say, well, put your hand here or do this or do that. I got to take my hand away. And then you have to, we have to find a way to scaffold that. For those of you who don't know, I was a school teacher for a long time. When I say a school teacher, I was an enrichment teacher. I was a music teacher. I started off, I was the head, shoulders, knees, and toes guy. I taught, you know, little kids first. Then I went to, you know, middle school. I started teaching middle school band. I taught show band in Oakland. In other words, rock and R&B bands. And I'm going to give you another link. I'm going to give you another link here. This is one of those impromptu things. And I want you to watch it. I would appreciate it if you watch it. I really would, because it's one of my proudest moments as a teacher. My last year there, we did a Prince tribute at 𝗗𝗏 Conservatory. And these are kids that I'd worked with for 3 years. And I just put that link in the chat. We did this Prince and Sheila E. tribute, which is great. But at the end, my student Kenya, who is now a music teacher herself, teaching high school, she posts on Facebook one day. She was so tired. I'm like, you've been in this gang 1 year, sis. But in the glamorous life, and we would go live during rehearsals. In the glamorous life, the live version of that, there's this line that goes, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Now, it's a big line, right? It's a big thing. As a music teacher, there's always an expectation that there's going to be some kind of performance. Somebody's going to miss this. Somebody's going to be up in there. He talked too much, because they be wanting quick fixes. My shit ain't for people who want quick fixes. It's not. And I'm leaning hard into that. I don't have gray hair. Wisdom is not what causes the gray hair. It's just I've been around a while. But I've bent enough corners. I know what I'm talking about. It's not the way, but it's a way. So just hear me out here. So I got these high school students with varying music interests and abilities and all that. And I'm like, we are going to play this. So as a music teacher, there's always an expectation that there's going to be several performances through the year. And then there's also state standards. So this guy, I'm like, how do I teach material in a way that is pedagogically sound, that kills two birds with one stone, meets the state standards, and gets us to our performances, to where we always got something in the bag. You need a band to perform for something special? No problem. We got that, right? So this big section of this Sheila E. song, Kenya, it was her last year, it was her senior year. And Kenya, when I met her in 9th grade, was this shy kid, and the other drummer used to kind of pick on her a little bit. But I said, you are going to do this solo. You're going to be Sheila E. Kenya E. You're going to do this. And we're going to play this line. Had a bass player named 𝗏𝗏. And I can remember how 𝗏𝗏 would, he would, when they heard it, they were like, we'll never do that. And I'm like, yes, you will. Yes, you will. So what did I do? I planned out, right? This is how we're going to do it. We got X amount of weeks. So when we rehearse on Monday, we're going to do this. When we rehearse on Wednesday, we're going to do this. And then when you go home, you're going to do this, right? So that line, ba-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, that's 2 phrases, right? I'm telling you right now, and somewhere, because I used to live stream these rehearsals, and I have some of them on YouTube. I think they're unlisted right now, but I can remember going in there and be like, 2, 3, 4, ba-da, 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 da-da-da. Looking at who I had to work with, what time we had, and a way to scaffold that information so that they could get it. Of course, they have to still do the work, right? I used to teach private lessons in person. I'm not really into people coming to my house, so I don't really do that anymore. If I teach one-on-one, it's always online. But I taught at Guitar Center for a while too, which was a trip. Listen, it was for the Guitar Center had 50% discount for employees. And I would get emotionally attached to whether or not people practiced. And then I got to the point where I was like, nah, I can't make you practice. You paying to be here. Either you gonna practice or you ain't gonna practice. Now, you can practice, right? You can take some of these things I'm telling you, and you can practice, you can get better. And it'd be money well spent because you get what you want, right? Or you can not practice, and you can keep giving me money, right? And then you stop. So all I'm saying is, take agency over your learning. Observe. Observe. I think that's the key word that's coming to me right now is observe. One of the things that I wanted to say, if you are working with me one-on-one, we've got to be building a repertoire. Hold, please, because somebody's going to take umbrage with that. When I was teaching younger kids, middle school, they're going to audition for the high school jazz band. Well, we got to work towards that, right? It's got to be pedagogically sound, and it has to work you to that goal. But I've worked with a lot of adults, and then I got to look at an adult and say, do you really want to be playing that, whatever that random thing is, respectfully? Or can we find the lesson within the music? You see what I'm saying? I'm going to leave you with this. And I was talking to this gentleman about meditation. I need to be better about it, but I like to meditate. It's just one of those things. I like to work out, like to meditate. I kind of put them in the same bag, right? I love to do push-ups. Doing 100 push-ups with horrible form does nothing. But if I do a set of 10 push-ups with good form, I'm paying attention to my body and the form, I take a rest, I come back, that's going to do more than doing 100 shitty push-ups. All right? If you're working on one thing, it doesn't matter what the thing is, and you say, I am going to put myself in a distraction-free environment and focus on this thing for this amount of time. You focus on that thing. I'm not saying to do it, but when I say focus on it, evaluate it. When I move my hand from here to here, what's happening? How come I can't get my pinky to go from the D string to the A string without getting it caught up? Do I need to set up my bass? Or are my strings too high? Are my arms constricted? You know, really pay attention. I was telling the gentleman, I said, you know, if I, you know, I've played gigs where I felt like I was too cramped, right? I felt like, I did a gig and this guy, you know, as soon as he came in, I said, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Because we were in this little place. And I mean, I was like, John Bonham, we need Questlove tonight. We don't need John Bonham. You ain't at the Oracle Arena. But he got all these cymbals and shit. And I'm like, God. And I felt constricted. Sometimes that's the thing. But that's something that you have to be able to look at and diagnose, right? When I'm not online or when any of your other favorite creators are not online, right? When nobody in the forums can help you, right? So the premise behind Groove School, and you can try it for 7 days free. It's a plane that I am building and flying at the same time. But let me tell you something. I feel confident in what I'm doing over there. Not in competition with anyone else, not saying that I'm better than it. I'm just doing something my way over there. And what I want to do is give you agency to teach yourself, right? I want you to be able to get a subscription and then in a few months cancel the subscription. Come back because you got the tools to listen. Right? So let me talk about this inventory thing, this repertoire thing. Repertoire. I love that word, repertoire. I'm trying to be careful about how I say this because I'm never taking shots at anyone. I'm never taking aim at anyone. Not anyone online, not any private instructors or whatever. I'm not about that life. But if you tell me that you've been taking lessons with somebody for 6 months, a year, shit, a month, 3 months, whatever, and you can't play a song, there's a link in the chain. There's a weak link in that chain. If you can't play something that resembles music, there's a weak link in the chain. And bass is tricky because either, you know, especially nowadays when we've got, you know, all the flashy stuff, right? Like nobody starts there. You know, they start somewhere. First thing I played outside of blues that resembled a song that I felt good about was this I think it's Black Sabbath, Iron Man. I didn't know what I was playing. I just knew what it sounded like. Right? And then I learned some of the other stuff. You know what I mean? So I would challenge you, whoever you are. What repertoire are you building right now? Could you sit down and play Papa Was a Rolling Stone? That one groove. Let's say that one groove. Let's say you're a beginner. Could you play Papa Was a Rolling Stone for like 3 minutes? You know what I mean? Because somebody, do don't. That's something that you could play with someone. So bass, if you're playing by yourself, it can be tricky to learn bass out of context. It's not like guitar or piano. Piano, you can learn a couple of chords, 3-4 chords on guitar, and you off to the races, right? You can get, you're more inspired because it sounds more like music, right? Bass is a little bit different because it's, typically single notes, right? So rhythm and time is paramount. Paramount. What's another? I got a video on YouTube right now about it's a Bill Withers tune. Dum 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 dum. Oh man. Staples singing. Hey Jay. Hey Bird Lady Speaks. I see y'all. Stretch Leon, I see you. Right? All them tunes, little tunes. Like the Staples singers, I'll take you there. Man, you know how much vocabulary is in that song? You learn that. You learn 20 songs, believe it or not. You learn, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be building some repertoire as well. Okay. I gotta jump off. I have not worked out today, and I guarantee you that is going to happen today. My neighbors ain't gonna like it because I work out in the backyard, but this is my house. Okay. I'm kidding. Come on. I feel passionately about that. I hope that what I'm saying is coherent. But I really hope that you watch the Prince tribute that I'm talking about. I'm really proud of that moment. Really proud of those kids. Elise is now singing. The other kids in that. Kendra's a teacher now. But what makes me so proud about it is how proud they were. And I know what it took. That's why I love productions. I love a production. Like when you get into a production from start to finish and you see the first rehearsals and you get to the end and you start seeing the fruits of your labor. God, I love that. I love that. Anyway, I got to hop. Hope this made sense. I hope that it inspired someone, or at least gave you some things to think about. But if you don't check out the Prince tribute, at least go over and check out those Keys to Mastery. Again, they are adapted from Robert Greene's Mastery book. And look, if you are a reader, I highly suggest checking that book out because it is about the mastery of anything. It's a great book. And a lot of my philosophy on teaching is born out of that. So again, the link is in the comments. After I'm done, I'll put pick and choose. How you doing? I will put links to both the Prince tribute and the page that has the Keys to Mastery on it. All right, man. I love y'all. Thanks for rocking with me. It ain't rocket science. It's pocket science. Peace.